mostly in the business name that we'll be using to fund our advertising projects for our business in the future. And every time that I didn't want to call, I'd think about that, and I'd end up getting on the phone with somebody that I swear was just waiting for me to call and so excited to talk to me. Yeah, so the first bank that I walked into, I got approved on the spot personally, $25,000. Highly recommend, Joe. Just do it. Big Joe.
Hey man, how's it going?
Man, doing good. I like your backdrop.
Thank you very much. I just got it actually. I'm kind of
Nice.
excited about it. How old is your company?
Incorporated in September of 2019, so just shy of 2 years.
That's great, man. Okay. Have you
And
done
we didn't start the business building stuff until like whenever I signed up for your course, 2 months ago, something like that, 3 months ago. So I think on Dun and Bradstreet, I may only have 2 trade lines reporting there, and Experian Business maybe 2. So even though I signed up for a bunch of stuff, there's only a couple of things I've started reporting. So,
Okay.
I think with my, was it the BB&T business credit card, got approved strictly because of my personal credit.
Nice. That's awesome, man. How much
Yeah.
did you get with them?
So I got 20,000 on through the business with BB&T, and the lady was right there on the spot. She's like, you can get the same thing on a personal credit card right now. I said, I hold off on that. I'll do that at a later date, but I appreciate that.
That's cool, man. Congrats. That's really good. And then have you tried Capital on Tap? I think they do soft pull. I
So
heard.
I did see that. I've read up on them. That's on my list of things to take a shot with. I have not gone that route yet. I'm trying to exhaust all the local banks first. I've still got some calls back to do this week, probably 5 or 6 more candidates. But the other one that I did get approved for originally, the first one was Synovus. I walked in and got 25,000 approved immediately, personally, and then 10,000 through the business. And that took like 2 days for them to approve.
That was you walked into that bank.
Yeah, walked in. I knew the GM, but he didn't really have any control over getting it approved. But he's like, yeah, you did everything right, So
That's awesome, man.
I found Joe on a random podcast one day, did a Google search for him, and found the business credit workshop. I immediately bought it and implemented the steps involved in the process. And within 90 days, I now have $75,000 worth of credit cards, mostly in the business name, that we'll be using to fund our advertising projects for our business in the future. Highly recommend, Joe. Just do it.
Were there any challenges that you had when you're going through the course that you experienced, and like how did you overcome those challenges?
Not really. I mean, it's so simple and straightforward, just following the steps. One thing I would say, I was a little unsure of what to expect was with some of the net 30 vendors, with not knowing who's going to report, when are they going to report. There was a few of them that I signed up for that were $99. And then I found out, maybe 30 days later that maybe you had to also buy something else for them to report.
Yeah.
So a little unsure on those things. But other than that, straightforward, follow the directions, and everything worked out.
Now, one of the things that you did that I was really impressed with is that you actually called a lot of banks. How many banks did you call?
Oh, definitely over 100. I actually used your spreadsheet and then just made a list of banks locally in this city. Then I went countywide, then I went statewide, and just started calling. And my intention calling them was to find banks that were only pulling Equifax, because my Equifax right now is considerably higher than my TransUnion and Experian. So I was looking for lenders that offer business credit cards and that only pull Equifax, and just went down the list. And not that I won't use or develop a relationship with the banks that don't fit that criteria, but I, developed a rapport and a relationship and took notes on everybody that I talked to, so that I can go back to them in, 60 days or 90 days or in 6 months or whenever I get those scores up and have, a database of people to call.
That's super smart, man. That's exactly how I did it too. I just started, they say a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. I called that first bank, and by the 10th bank, you get a rhythm of it. You kind of get the hang of it. And I found a whole bunch of banks, like local community banks, credit unions that offer their own business credit card. And then I just started applying. So it's so nice to hear that you not only took the course, but really implemented it, and that it's working. The
Yeah.
process I used years ago, still working today. And you just have to do the work. We never told anyone it was going to be easy, but we did say it was going to be worth it. Right.
Yeah. And in regards to it not being easy, when you have a list of 100 and something banks, it can seem like a bit of a daunting task to call them all. You actually said something, and something I listened to, and you said some of the people at banks, or I forget exactly what you said, like they're looking forward to talking to somebody, or they're bored or something like that. And every time that I didn't want to call, I'd think about that, and I'd end up getting on the phone with somebody that I swear was just waiting for me to call and so excited to talk to me. So people are definitely more receptive to these phone calls than you would expect.
Yeah, I agree. I would say there's only a small percentage of people that were really turned off by the call or very conservative. But for the most part, they want to do their job. They're getting paid to answer that phone and answer questions. And then every now and then you find someone that's like super energetic, very ambitious. Maybe they're the vice president of business lending. Like I have, I work with a lot of banks here in New Jersey, and one of the bankers just texted me recently. I took a screenshot and I put it on the Facebook group, and it was like, I have a goal of getting 3 more business credit cards this quarter, or whatever the goal was. Like that's her goal. So she's waiting for your call, like just
Yeah,
call the
yeah.
bank. That's a portfolio lender, it's their own business credit card. And so it's really nice to hear that feedback. And so as a result of all those calls, you got, I think you said in like a 24-hour period, you got a couple of approvals. Do you want to share what they were again?
Yeah, so the first bank that I walked into, Synovus, I got approved on the spot personally, $25,000. It wasn't my original intention to get a personal card. I went ahead and accepted it. And then within 48 hours, I think, I got $10,000 through the business. And at that point I was like, wow, this actually really works. And so as soon as I got notification of that approval, I went to BB&T, which is right down the street from me, walked in there, and within an hour I had a $20,000 business credit card through BB&T, where the lady also mentioned she'd give me a personal. I passed on it. And then within the next couple of days, I got 2 more credit cards from 2 other banks.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations again.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with the money?
So we're in real estate, and we're basically just trying to grow the company. Google AdWords is our #1 source of leads, and we're just going to fund our expansion with it.
That's awesome, man. So you use Google AdWords as like an acquisition method to find
Yeah,
these leads?
yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that. Do you have the Chase card yet?
No.
That's a really good one for points too. I use that for Google AdWords and American and Amex too. They have good points. Although I think
Okay.
Chase, depending on where you are, where I'm located, they pull Experian. But you could double check
Yeah.
that where you're located.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've got a great little database right now of who pulls what. So
That's it, man. That's what you got to do.
yeah. What's interesting too is how many don't pull all 3.
Right.
So,
A lot of them
you
pull
know,
one.
yeah. So, if you exhaust the list and you get a bunch of inquiries on one, go to the next.
One of the things you should do, I think, also is go to neighboring states. So after we exhausted like New Jersey, then we went to New York, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, and then we went further, went Virginia, we went Florida, and we found all the way out to Omaha. We found banks in other states that would lend to other states, and it was still their own business credit card. So it wasn't like a third party, like a Lawn or one of those popular third party. It was portfolio card, and they lend to businesses in other states. And that will allow you, now you call your neighboring states. I mean, you'll have stacks and stacks of business credit cards.
That's actually the next thing on our list to do. And I'm actually been working with training a virtual assistant that I had.
There you
I've
go.
been recording my phone calls, and I've got about 10 or 20 phone calls that I'm giving to them, and it's going to teach them how to call some of these banks and just kind of at least weed some of them out for me to make a follow-up call and know who to call.
That's perfect. That's going to work so well, man. Very proud, very happy.
No, man, just if you're on the fence, anybody out there, you need business credit, I can't even tell you, don't even think twice about it. Joe's undercharging for this course. It's well worth the money. Just do it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.